Tonight on Elon Local News.
Elon on high alert. Elon University moves to alert level 3. What you need to know to protect yourself and others as coronavirus cases continue to rise.
Pro-Trump parade. University President Connie Book tells ELN what the university's response means.
And comfort in the time of chaos. A group of students coming together to worship.
Tonight, September 21st, 2020.
Elon Local News starts right now.
Live from the Jane and Brian Williams studio at Elon University School of Communications, you're watching Elon Local News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Margaret Faust.
And I'm Maeve Ashbrook. We begin tonight with Elon University now in level 3, or the high alert level, after an increase in coronavirus cases. Some students tell ELN they're going to start taking more precautions, while others say they aren't too concerned.
It's scary because you never know who you've been in contact with. It's like a rippling effect where one person you know might have it, and then they've seen their roommates, who've seen other people.
I was pretty surprised, honestly, because I feel like just last week we were level 1 and now we're already level 2 and then level 3. I think it's really fast, but I feel like at the same time I'm glad Elon is taking these precautions.
I think it's going to take a lot of fun out of things, but we just got to be smart and stay in our rooms and hope we can get to the next stages and try and move back up, back to where we were, be back at a good place.
I think I'm going to take more precautions and just take food back to my dorm and not have people from other dorms over, since that's not allowed anymore.
Honestly, I'm not too stressed out about it. I know it's just kind of a big wave. Things will settle down again and everything will go back to normal. We'll be back at level 1 in 2 or 3 weeks.
It's like a wake-up call, just to be more, wear your mask everywhere you go, be careful going out to eat, into the bars.
Elon University is reporting 8 new coronavirus cases today, and the university is estimating there are 90 active cases on campus. Currently, 279 students are in isolation, up 38 from yesterday. Extending beyond Elon's campus, Alamance County is reporting 21 new positive cases today, and North Carolina is reporting 800. For the latest case numbers, visit our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
We first met Josephine McMorton last week when she wanted answers on why she needed to wait to get a coronavirus test after her roommate tested positive. Even though she was asymptomatic at first, McWhorter tested positive for the virus Wednesday and says she's been disappointed with the school's communication ever since. Our Jack Norcross has the story.
Speaking through the window of her global pod, Elon freshman Josephine McWhorter is upset about the way her coronavirus case has been handled.
I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, but I'm a little disappointed with how things have been handled. They did contact me at the beginning, but I feel like it's a little weird that they haven't talked to me since they figured out I tested positive. Wouldn't that be when you want more information?
Since testing for the virus on Wednesday, McWhorter has experienced migraines and swollen lymph nodes, making it difficult to move her neck. She's been in her room quarantining and says she notified the school of her positive result, but hasn't heard from the university or Alamance County Health Department since. Dean of Students Janelyn Patterson says individuals in quarantine should be contacted by a staff member every day.
It would be highly unusual for a student not to receive contact from the university. From their designated point of contact. Now, is there an isolated case where there was, a glitch? I can't speak to that because I don't know who it is.
4 days after initiating a conversation with the school about her positive result, she says she hadn't heard anything from the university until Dean Patterson called her late this afternoon following our inquiry. McWhorton says she was never made aware about the differences between isolating out of precaution and being positive for the virus, which includes significantly limiting departures from quarantine spaces.
I doubt I'm the only one in my situation where they haven't really followed up, so if there's people that are actually just going out still.
While McWhorter says she follows the rules, she worries about others.
We just kind of have to hope that everybody's a good person and actually follows the rules.
Jack Norcross, Elon Local News.
McWhorter says Dean Patterson told her she didn't have to report close contacts because she was already in quarantine when she tested positive.
A familiar spot on campus is being used as a pop-up testing site. It's inside Alumni Gym, and Cone Health is administering tests to asymptomatic students that may have been exposed to the virus. Possible exposures are considered, quote, expanded contacts by the university. Elon News Network talked to students after getting tested today in the gym.
You have to go in there and wait, so it's kind of inconvenient for people that's like have a busy schedule.
And I was one of the lucky ones. I was actually at the back of this line, but the printer broke, so I was somehow the first to go out of the line.
I'm not feeling symptoms at all. I feel fine. My coach highly recommended it that we do get tested because it's always best to get tested just in case something goes bad down the line. You're like, oops, spread it out or something. Yeah, you know.
My main concern, though, was that the gym was pretty crowded. It's like they overstopped their times and stuff, so I was worried, if I don't have COVID, there's a risk that one of the people who here actually has it might give it to me.
If you want to go off campus, Cone Health is also providing drive-through coronavirus tests. It's at Alamance Regional Medical Center, and Cone Health says you don't have to have symptoms to get a test. You also don't need an appointment, but they ask if you are going to get tested to please provide an ID.
Also new under the university's high alert level, no visitors are allowed in residence halls. Masks remain required in kitchen and common spaces for residents within their spaces. University spokesman Owen Covington confirmed to Elon News Network that the new regulations also apply to residents in university-owned apartments, including Oaks and the station at Mill Point. Meanwhile, Oaks neighborhood apartment manager Khalik Van Otu has advised his residents to only host visitors within the neighborhood. Van Otu says while he has yet to have a full staff meeting, he has been in communication with his direct supervisor. His biggest complaint so far is the lack of communication between Residence Life directors and student staff.
As someone who's in a position of leadership on campus, I want to be able to answer those questions, but not being notified that that was coming out today, and what exactly that means for our students is something that was concerning to me.
Elon Jr. and Oaks resident Lauren Weinberg says while she understands where the university is coming from on the new policy, she doesn't fully agree with it.
I just feel like if I'm safe in my apartment and like people that live upstairs or next door, just like 2 or 3 people want to come over and we all wear our masks, I personally don't see what's the problem with that, because like it is like my apartment, and if we all wear a mask, then I feel like what's the difference besides like being in a classroom at that point?
In an email to Elon News Network, Director of Residence Life Marquita Barker says because of the quick decisions made by the university, Residence Life workers cannot always be notified beforehand. She says anyone who is caught breaking the new visitor policy may face probation or removal from housing. It is unclear how this policy will be regulated.
1 hour after the level 3 high alert was issued this morning, Campus Recreation moved a group exercise class that is scheduled to take place tonight outdoors. Students who are signed up for the Zumba class happening at 6:45 p.m. tonight were emailed at noon that the class is being moved outside to the grass between Alumni Gym and the Oaks apartments. Freshman Kayla McBartney says she can't help but think that the location change was tied to the level 3 alert.
I'm just going to wear a mask and keep my more than 6 feet apart distance as much as I can. And if that's not like attainable for everyone in the class to be 6 feet apart, I'll probably just leave.
Zumba instructor declined to comment. Campus Recreation and Wellness told Elon News Network that they are discussing whether or not to change their policies, but will update students when it's decided.
Today, faculty and staff were notified by the university of the death of trustee emeritus Maurice Jennings. Jennings graduated from Elon in 1957 and during his time as a trustee led a fundraising campaign for the Center of the Arts and Elon School of Law. Jennings funded the Elon School of Law with his late wife. And coming up, how some students continue to practice their religion during the coronavirus pandemic.
Well, this morning I needed my warm hoodie, but as you can feel outside right now, I definitely do not. More on that later.
As the Jewish high holidays continue this weekend and other religious organizations on campus are operating non-traditionally, I spoke with Elon students about how their faith has been tested during the pandemic.
Elon Jr. Catherine Nestor spent quarantine watching church services on Sunday in her room, usually alone.
A lot of me goes, oh, why could God let this happen?
But now back at Elon, Nestor and her roommates missed going to church together, so they brought services to their own backyard.
We either have the screen propped up here or propped up against the house.
Nestor streams her church's Facebook Lives. She says her roommates thought since they had the space, why not share it with the community?
I've never been able to take 15 people to church twice a day, as where here I can invite whoever I want and just have an open and safe place to practice our faith.
Elon Jr. Zoe Kurtz is also relying on live stream services during the Jewish high holidays.
It was really strange, not being able to go home with my family and celebrate because I live an hour away. But being able to be with my friends who are in similar boats was really nice.
She says the pandemic has made it harder to traditionally practice Judaism, but in return she's grown closer to her Jewish community, even if it's over Zoom.
I feel just seeing people's faces is just really, we're all in it together. So I think that's one way to make it a positive is we're all in it together.
And Nestor says until she and her roommates feel safe going to church in person, they'll continue streaming services at their home, strengthening their faith with old friends and new.
Some people who come have never really gone to church, but I think right now a lot of people are looking for truth and hope and just answers and healing, comfort, joy, all of those things. So it's been really unique to be able to help provide that to this community.
Elon Hillel and Elon Chabad are offering students a chance to celebrate Yom Kippur through both virtual events and small outdoor gatherings this weekend.
We are now joined by the Student Government Association Class of 2024 President Andrew Lim. Andrew, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
First and foremost, just congratulations on your new appointment, and let's just get started here. My first question for you is, how are you going to help your classmates adjust to this new time, seeing as we just upgraded to the level 3 alert?
Yeah, I was very shocked, I'm sure as many were, when I heard about the level 3 alert. Our first and foremost priority for SGA and just as freshman class representatives in general is going to be making sure that everyone's safe, but also making sure that people feel included. Some of the things that we've really talked about is how can we create inclusion in a time of COVID. Secondly, prioritizing mental health. You know, one of the things I think we've really prioritized right now, as we should, is physical health, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should put mental health on the back burner. Certain rules that are recently been put in place, such as no guests, no visitors, it's definitely going to make things a lot harder for people that I'm sure are definitely already experiencing some very tough emotional reactions to what's going on. And thirdly, I know that we're going to be really focusing on diversity. The university really tries to preach and teach about diversity, but we can't continue to do that and yet not practice it ourselves. So we're going to really make that a key goal for us in this administration.
Yeah, and Andrew, you know, you are this newly elected president. Do you feel like after naming that title that all eyes are you and that you might be being held to a higher standard as far as all of these rules in the coronavirus pandemic?
I can definitely say eyes can at some points definitely feel like they are on us as a freshman class. We need to continue to be vigilant and responsible and safe and set a good example for everyone else. You know, it's going to be difficult, but I think we're up for the challenge.
And what would you say to students who might be breaking those rules to encourage them to stay safe?
I would say that we all need to do our part to get back to normalcy. I ran on the campaign of normalcy, inclusion, and improvement. But to get to normalcy, we first need to be safe. So I would encourage everyone to do what they need to do, get these numbers down so we can, you know, get back to some normal times.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
The university is issuing no trespass orders to drivers involved in yelling hateful messages on campus during a Trump convoy. Back in August, President Bush addressed a no trespass order with Elon News Network.
Even though the public streets may have one set of rules, as a private campus, we can issue a no trespass order and have in response to events like these. That lets people know you're not welcome on this campus. Those values that you are exhibiting in your behavior are rejected by this community. And I think it sends a loud message.
In the wake of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death, President Trump says he will nominate a justice to fill the now vacant spot. Brian Ray joins us to break down how Ginsburg's death will affect the Supreme Court. Brian?
Let's start with the basics. The Supreme Court's job is to judge the law next to the Constitution. In the cases they hear, usually about 100 a year, they decide if the law is constitutional or unconstitutional. There are always 9 Supreme Court justices, and that's to avoid having a tie vote. Now that there's 8 justices, there's room for decisions to come to a tie. When there's a vacancy like there is now, the president nominates a new justice who's then confirmed by the Senate. The Congressional Research Service says it takes an average of 62 days for a justice to go through the whole process. Justices then serve a lifetime appointment. President Trump, a Republican, will likely nominate a Republican justice to replace Ginsburg, who was liberal. This would create a 6-3 Republican majority in the court, an ideological shift that hasn't happened since 1969. But here's where it gets a little complicated. Back in 2016, when Justice Antonin Scalia died, the Senate blocked President Obama from appointing a new justice, saying the next president should choose who fills the vacancy. President Trump says he will announce a nominee to fill the vacancy this week, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says there will be a vote in the Senate. Maeve and Margaret?
Maeve, I think that this new situation, who Trump appoints, is going to be very key in his election in November. And Maeve, it has been cooling down a little bit, which I don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying that. And our Claire Schoenfeld is outside with our Phoenix 5-day forecast. Claire?
And that weather is, she will be here in just a moment, but that weather is beautiful. I find it inspiring. I was telling you earlier, I love riding and I love doing all the stuff, so the weather is great. Oh, now, and Claire is now with us. We are now going to go live to Citroen Plaza. Claire, what can you tell us about our forecast?
Well, this morning started out a little chilly, but as you can see, it is absolutely beautiful out. High of 68, low 44, perfect way to start off your week. And now looking ahead to your Phoenix 5-day forecast. Tomorrow it's going to be nice and sunny just like this, high of 72, low of 50. Wednesday, some clouds are going to come in, high of 77, low of 56. Thursday, the clouds are going to stay for a little bit with a high of 73, low of 59. Friday, there's a chance for rain, high of 71, low of 63. And Saturday, there's also going to be a possible chance for rain, high of 76 and low of 64. Back to you guys at the studio.
Thank you so much, Claire. And after the break, we will hear from a 2020 Elon grad who plans on making the most of virtual homecoming.
You're watching Elon Local News.
Instead of homecoming weekend this year, Elon is gearing up for a whole week of celebratory virtual events, and it's only 3 weeks away. Homecoming and Reunion Week is October 12th through the 18th, and it won't look like last in years past. Elon alumna Noor Urshadat says she's excited to attend the events that work with her schedule. After graduating in May, she wishes she could see her class in person, but she's excited about the alternative.
We really think that this will make it easier for the students because then they're not.
Senior Director of Alumni Engagement and Annual Giving, Brian Feely, says the university started talking about a contingency plan for virtual homecoming in April. He says the focus has been on creating a diverse set of events, from fun to more meaningful, to satisfy everyone. And we apologize for those technical difficulties there. To register for homecoming,
and you were getting everybody be in person. I mean, imagine if you're a class of 1970 and you were getting set to celebrate your 50th class reunion here on campus, or one of these other milestones, let alone just the vibrancy of homecoming. Everybody wants to give a hug, a high five.
Again, we apologize for those technical difficulties, and to register for homecoming, go to elon.edu/alumni.
And coming up, find out about the story behind a Greensboro shoe collection.
You're watching Elon Local News.
Is how we walk who we are? That's what one Greensboro artist wants people to think about when they see her latest collection. But her art is much more than what meets the eye. Here's Kristen Chan with the story.
Clay shoes line an exhibit hall at Alamance Arts in Graham, North Carolina. To someone passing by, they might just look like detailed ceramics. But to Marilyn Barr, each hold memories close to her heart.
Each shoe has a specific story about me or experiences I've had or music that I listen to and love.
In 1978, after a career in modeling and unexpected pregnancy, Marilyn found herself homeless in North Carolina. She got back on her feet illustrating for publishers, only to lose her job as the digital world grew. In 2008, she decided to go back to school to trade runway shoes and illustrations for ceramics.
I just want to work with clay because that's kind of a passion of mine that has been dormant for a long time.
Now she's tapping into a bygone era, creating 1940s inspired shoes, clay shoes. The displayed collection has traveled to New York and back and allows her audience to take a walk in her shoes and just for a moment step into the life she lived. Her favorite creation, inspired by her days in boarding school.
Sister Frances was a tiny, tiny, tiny nun that used to take care of us after school time in boarding school. She wore the lace-up boots and her toes went straight up like this. And it's an ode to Sister Frances.
What impact do you hope your art has on others?
I hope it makes them think, understand that my work involves memories that could be common to more than just 2 or 3 people.
Marilyn hopes to someday actually walk in the shoes she created, but until then, she plans to grow her ceramic collection one step at a time. Kristen Chan, Elon Local News.
Marilyn's collection will be on display in the Alamance Arts Captain's White House until October 10th. And that's all the news we have for you tonight. Thank you for joining us.
For all the news you need to know when we are not on the air, check out our website, elonnewsnetwork.com. Stay safe, Elon.
Peace.